there's always the rumor of any sport, you should not have sex 48 hours before a fight, and all of that
48, I wish it was that.
Is it not? Is it more?
Yeah, I used to go a long time. Good few months, me.
Few months? Jesus Christ. No wonder you won all your fights. You're bloody angry. Welcome back to another episode of Managed. I'm really excited to have my boxing coach here, but he's also a two-time Commonwealth champion, two-time welterweight champion, and his name is Bradley Skeete. Woo! Anyone else want to clap? There we go.
Hey, that's better.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
It's okay. So you do train me, to put it out there. That's how I know Brad, because I don't think anyone would ever believe I have a friend who is successful in boxing in any way, shape or form without that, to be honest. You are, I didn't realise how much of a big deal you were, to be honest, until I started researching. And you got the blue tick.
Oh, yeah.
You do. So you don't do loads of interviews, right?
Not really, no.
Since you retired, because you are now retired as a professional boxer.
Yep.
And obviously we'll get to why you ended up retired, but you are now training professional boxers, right?
That's it, yeah.
Do you want to tell me how that kind of came about?
Yeah, well, like I said, I had a successful and good professional boxing career. And
12 years?
Yeah, 12
Done
years.
my research?
Make me feel old.
Well, we won't tell you how old you are, so...
But yeah, done really well, achieved quite a bit. And towards the end, it just ended a bit sour and a bit stale. And my heart wasn't in it no more. And yeah, I decided to still be round boxing and just pass on my knowledge and experience to the fighters coming through of today, which I'm really enjoying.
Exciting?
Yeah, really, I'm really enjoying it, because even though I miss boxing every day myself, the training and the competing, and like I say, for me to be in the gym now, passing it on and with my own fighters and seeing them do well and achieving and doing really well and being successful, that's my buzz. So I still get that buzz out of it, but obviously it's just not getting punched in my face. So it's a good thing, really.
Yeah, do you know what? Because I reckon you probably don't bounce back as quick after a certain age.
I'm all right, I'm quick.
You're quick. Yeah, but you get punched in the face. That must take its toll, though, if you're getting punched in the face a lot, especially your head, it can't be good for you, right?
Well, I was good, so I was like...
Oh, okay, fair. You're not great, then maybe.
No, but yeah, you're right. There's a time to call it a day, and at that time...
Does it feel natural at the time when you call it a day? Because I'm guessing it was a hard decision and you were quite upset when you decided that was the decision to take to... that's everything you've known for 12 years. There's probably a mental discipline, physical discipline. Yeah. I know, you're quite strict on the diet side of things. Yeah. I hear what you say to the fighters when I'm in the gym and not doing anything.
Yeah, that's probably one thing I don't miss, the diet side. But
what do you eat roughly? If you're a professional fighter, taking it seriously, what should you be eating?
Just like a rabbit, all the good stuff. Greens, a lot of greens, protein, few carbs here and there, but I had a really good nutritionist who sorted me out, and yeah, it's just sticking to a program and routine. And once I tell my fighters now, you probably heard that, just it's routine and sticking to the program, and it just makes it easier. Do you know what I mean? You ain't got to make it hard. It's not, people think, oh, I'm a diet, I've got to do this, eat that, not eat that. But this day and age, there's loads out there, and
well, we were talking about fads a minute ago.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about what fad, but there is a lot of diet fads too. But I guess a lot of them probably wouldn't be good for an athlete. Yeah. They're more for the ladies who would like to. Well, I do every fad. I'm the worst person in the world for it. If there's someone tells me I could be skinny, I'm like, oh, here I go.
Let's do it.
But I guess also you actually are training Fran Hennessy, who, for those who don't know, we do manage her commercially.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, when is the right time to become professional, and how do you know when it is that time? Because one of the things we were talking about is age.
Yeah.
So say you're fighting, you're like an amateur, you're doing, some, I don't know what they're called, but open
tournaments.
Okay. Because everything, I do Muay Thai as well, so obviously what, they call it different sides, right?
Yeah.
But how do they know, or how would you know as a coach when it's the right time to say, okay, I think you should go professional, and how would you go about that for anyone who doesn't know?
Well, Fran who I've been training now, she, as we speak, she's still technically an amateur. But she's obviously training with me as a professional boxing coach. But she's only well, I say she's only 18, but that's, if people wouldn't know, they'd think, oh, that's very young. But she's very, very skillful. She's technically
she does some
amazing.
Crazy stuff with her feet.
She's so good. Yeah.
Well, she called it the Bradley Skeete. That's what she calls it, the shuffle, because she goes like.
But yeah, like I say, she's at a time now where, personally, me, I'd be advising her to turn professional because she's achieved so much already as an amateur at a young age, and her waiting around for, say, the next Olympics, and there's controversy in boxing all the time, and she's suffered it herself. She's been in tournaments and hands down clearly won the fight, and the fight's gone the other way. Like,
why do you think is it to do with like politics in boxing?
You hear it all the time. There's politics of boxing.
So it's not fair.
Like I say it myself. I said it in one of the interviews I've done after my last one. It's corruption. That's I basically said it. Like, it's corruption. There's corruption in boxing. When there's money involved and there's high profile fights involved, it's corruption. Do you know what I mean? And there's no if, buts, and maybe. That's what happens. And it's sad to say because we're in a sport, and professional sport, do you know what I mean? And in amateur sport, as I said it, from top to bottom, it's corrupt. And it's sad, but it happens, and it's not the first, it won't be the last time. But that's...
I guess the best way to do it is take it on the chin, I guess. And
exactly.
Bounce back. And
exactly. But that's why I would be advising Fran to turn professional, because she's done amazing already. She's been very successful amateur, and she's got a wicked journey ahead of her. And women boxing now professionally is booming at the minute. Women
in sports, and I think it's nice to see as well. As a woman myself, Jesus, I am a woman. As a woman, it's nice to see, especially, I think, kind of came up with the Lionesses.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden every sport kind of followed, because before, I think, some men would comment, or, I've been to the pub before and heard, why is there a woman commentator? What do they know about football?
Yeah.
Well, we all have brains, so I'm sure we know the exact same as you would. Exactly. Not me, but I don't know much about football. But I think it's exciting to see Fran, and I think it's nice that she's got a good team of women and men around her.
Exactly, yeah.
Especially because I think it is like mentally draining on any industry, especially when it's so male dominated.
Yeah.
As a young woman to enter that space is very... Although you wouldn't see it with her, when you meet Fran, she's very shy, but then she gets into the ring. In the first video I saw of her, she was like... And I was like, that is not like the cute, lovely young lady I met, who was very shy, and now she's, she's like this fierce woman. But it is, I think, quite daunting. And do you think the fact that her brother is... Like, is he professional yet?
He's pro too,
Michael, is a pro, and also that her dad is Mick Hennessy, who is a former promoter for Tyson Fury. Do you think that gives her an edge?
She's it's going to be pressure for her, because all eyes are going to be on her. Like you say, Michael is a pro, and he's doing really good. He's doing really well. Their dad's Mick Hennessy, and everyone in boxing knows who Mick Hennessy is. He's been in some very high profile fights and promoting himself, and all eyes are going to be her, so she's going to feel that pressure. But she's made for this. I've seen her, and she performs well, and she's got a real good journey ahead of her. And that's my words to her, was she's got to strike while the iron's hot and take all the opportunities she can now.
Yeah, like, I find her really exciting, and her family's all very, very nice.
Good people.
I was so nervous when I met them, and I was like, oh my God. And I actually met them in the gym as well, and like, actually they're all such lovely people.
They're good people. All of them, they're real good people.
It actually leads me to it's a bit of a different question, but what do you think, as a professional boxer, of the YouTube boxing scene and that come up? Because I think it's really interesting, and we do speak about it every now and again, because some of the stuff we see is a bit like, here we go. But some of it, it generates a huge amount of income. There's obviously a market there for it. But do you think it is either helping the sport of boxing, or do you think it is damaging in a way?
Yeah. Listen, it's good because people are talking about it, and like I say, it generates a lot of money, a lot of interest. Even me, my daughter, she obviously showed interest to me fighting and that, but
definitely nowhere near as much interest as probably KSI fighting.
Exactly. The recent Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fight, she was on my phone begging me, can I watch it? Can I get it? Can I?
No, what? Sky was like 40 quid, right?
Yeah, it was pay-per-view. So I was like, like you didn't ever do this with me. Do you know what I mean? But that's what shows. And she don't really know boxing, but it was just the interest it generated. So it's good and it's bad because I feel for like all professional boxers ain't all these high profile fighters fighting on TV. You get small hall shows, which is non-TV, and the fighters have still got to go to work and they're not earning big paydays and big money. So for them to be grafting 24/7 and getting nothing really out of it, and then you get these YouTubers and influencers coming involved and getting paid fortunes, and do you know, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth for them. But it's got its good and bads. But personally, I think if they're doing well and they're putting their time into training, why shouldn't they fight and get involved and get paid for it?
I guess as well, it's, you know, it does get like a younger generation more involved.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, I think it's definitely it's definitely more interesting concept now with like the female version of it is OnlyFans ladies.
Yeah.
So I know Elle Brooks and she's actually a phenomenal woman. She's strong, she's short. Yeah. And she's I found the most baffling is that she's fighting someone who's like 6 foot tall. And surely is it just weight or is it, surely there has to be like, if you can't physically reach someone, I don't know if that is the case, if you can't, but that is quite
it's an advantage and disadvantage, but it's all weight. There's all weight categories in boxing. So yeah, if you're in that weight category, nothing to do with height. So yeah, if you're the same weight and in the same category, then it's good. I
guess the idea is the usual is that people are about the same height in the same weight.
That's how it really goes, yeah.
Guess in women it might not be the same, but well, that's good, I guess. But let's take it back to your career. So I've been told, and I'm really proud of you. I can't believe I've never really asked you before. We talk about gossip though in the gym. 29 wins, 4 losses, 0 draws. Yep. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
4 losses though.
Yeah, some of them are questionable though.
We'll come to that. Yeah. How do you feel like 12 years pro, all those fights, has sort of taken its toll on you? Because sure, there is a pressure, right? So the moment that you start to kind of come up, and like also on top of that, you're mentally training yourself for a fight. You've got everyone sort of predicting how that fight would go. Whether you're the underdog or on top, there is a lot of pressure, and that's 12 years of that you did. Yeah. How on earth how do you stay in a way that you don't lose your mind? Because I think if I had that much pressure, I'd crack.
Yeah, it's hard at times. It's hard. Like you say, you're putting all this work in training, and you're sacrificing a hell of a lot. And a big thing is like social media as well. You get people like ripping your family, ripping you, and then like you don't even know these people. They don't know you, but they got like making comments, and so it's a big thing.
So your family feel the pressure too?
Yeah, of course, yeah. But I say you always got to have that team around you, that strong team, and the right people around you, and you just switch off from it all and just concentrate on what you got to do. But that it is pressure. It's big, even now me coaching, I still get people putting digs in here and there, but that's just the way.
What kind of digs would they say? Is it more to your last fight?
You get people piping up, and do you know what I mean?
And they're the ones who don't fight.
But yeah,
it's kind of like everyone's a commentator.
Yeah.
But I think as well, like it's kind of like even like your family. They didn't choose the career you went into, and they're still receiving not backlash, I guess, but it's just trolling in a different form. Yeah. And is it like more online, or is it?
It's all social media. It's that. But my daughter, for instance, she's only 13, and after my last fight, there was just so much controversy. It was all over social media. It was in the press and everything. It was big, and people was commenting and putting things, and she was like, "Dad, I'm gonna reply. I'm gonna say this," and I was like, "No, just stay off of it. Don't even look at it. Don't." And
bless her. She's only 13.
Yeah, she was like, "But they're saying this, that," but it's, do you know what I mean? That's the world we live in. So. It's big pressure and things, but you just got to deal with it right, and just be headstrong and have a good group.
Do you think you have to be headstrong to be able to do this career? Do you think like if you're not, there's just no way?
Yeah, definitely. If you're not headstrong, it's not the career for you.
Oh God, I don't think it's the career for me. You brought it up, so let's talk about it. Your last fight, which was, I believe, in 2021, 4th of December. Yeah. Not the Christmas thing, not the Christmas wish you wanted, but Hamza Shiraz. Like the wine.
Like the wine.
Like the wine.
Cheap wine.
Listen, I don't personally drink Shiraz, but so there was a controversy.
Yeah.
I have the quote that you said at the time that this all kind of came out, which was, if anything, it should be me offering the rematch. I feel sick and I'm disgusted. Can you explain, like, for anyone who doesn't really know what happened, what did happen? And I guess it was the catalyst to you deciding to step down from professional.
Yeah. I'll take it back sort of thing, because obviously we spoke about my career and how well I was doing, and like I was on a good run and doing really well.
I think your wins speak for themselves. We can talk about all the highs we want, but realistically, you've kind of addressed that, and there are loads of other interviews. Whereas I think like I said, your career speaks for itself. You don't need to justify how amazing you were, but I do think you do deserve to be able to speak about the fact that if someone's if there is a controversy, you have deserved to say your piece, right? Yeah. And we can come back, we can end it on how amazing you are, because I'll say it all day, every day.
But yeah, so I was doing well, and towards like, so to speak, the back end of my career, it went on a bit of a slide, and I lost a fight that I should have never have lost, but I got beat by the better guy on the night. And
who was that?
Diego Ramirez. He was an Argentinian guy, but my head wasn't right. It was one of them things, and I got beat. But that time I needed to take a break, and I needed a rest from boxing, and I took a break. I had a year out, and then it was the time COVID and everything come around, and so I had another year. So I was out the ring for 2 years. So but I knew I wasn't done. A lot of people thought I'd retired then, but I wasn't. I just was taking time out and just being me and just living a normal life.
Surely everyone had to take a step back during COVID. You couldn't train. There was like everyone sort of had to. Everything sort of stopped, didn't it?
Yeah. So then I was doing a bit of PTing and just living a normal life, but I realised that career wasn't for me yet. I was still a professional boxer. I needed to make some changes and kickstart my career again. So I made a big change, and I changed my training team. I moved to Sheffield, and I joined.
I remember that when you joined, you came down south.
Yeah,
you'd been in Sheffield.
I lived in Sheffield.
Do you think that was a big catalyst as well, of like that massive change up on everything?
Yeah, I needed it. I needed a change, and like I say, I lived in Sheffield. I moved to Sheffield, and that was a big sacrifice for me and a big deal for me.
Where were you before? Were you in Bromley?
In Bromley, yeah, at iBox Gym in Bromley, yeah. And so I got back training. I got back to it. My career was like thinking, right, I'm going to get a fight. So I've been out the ring over 2 years now. So I had, so to speak, a comeback fight, done really well under obviously the Ingle Gym, and Dom Ingle. Anyone don't know, he's a world-class trainer. He trained Kell Brook. His dad was a legend, Brendan Ingle, trained Prince Nazim. He's massive in the sport, and they've had many world champions. And yeah, so to be around them, I knew for him to take me in, and do you know what I mean? I knew I had to get back to where I was. So I had a good comeback win, had a good win, and we was looking for next step, next fight. This is where the Shiraz fight coming into play. I think at the time he was like 12-0, had big knockout ratio.
What were you? You were 24.
When I boxed him, that was
29.
Yeah, and
29 and 4 you were.
Yeah, and then I wanted to fight straight away, because I knew this fight would get me right back to where I needed to be. He was WBO European champion at the time, and I thought, right, I get a world ranking, I beat him, get a world ranking. I'm here. He's a young kid to me. He's a kid to me. Do you know
How
what I mean?
old were you at the time?
I was 33, 32, 33, maybe, yeah.
Say 32, we've got a bit younger.
Yeah, a bit younger, mate. But yeah, he was like early 20s. So in boxing terms, everyone's looking at me, oh, he's old, he's past it, he's had his day. That's what people were thinking.
I did see comments of like the build-up of that, because, and actually I actually looked at this ages ago when I first met you.
Yeah.
So I've known you for about a year now.
Yeah.
Oh, happy anniversary. And that was like one of the things I was like, oh my God, he comes with drama.
Yeah.
And that was, people were saying that it was a case of like he was like this young gun, you were maybe a bit like past it, but I guess that's what everyone says, and it's actually so disrespectful when you hit the 30 mark, and like I'm 30 next year. I'm not even. I'm 29 like this month, and come in, and
You're already dreading your 30th.
I'm gonna have a funeral for my 20s. But I think it also puts pressure on people. It's like you don't want to get older, but actually you're probably you're a bit more wise and on every single aspect. You know the industry more.
Yeah.
So technically, I don't think it is a massive downfall. But for some reason, people just love to put you in the OAP geriatric box.
Yeah, and that's what it was. People knew I'd been out the ring for so long, and like I say, this young kid, he's smashing everyone. He's on the up. He's got big backing. His promoter Frank Warren's speaking so highly of him. I was promoted by Frank Warren my whole career, so there's history there. And it was
and he
like
was no longer your promoter at this time.
No, this time it was just like that fight, and we obviously we'll see what's happening after. But I just knew, for my mindset, I just knew I'd sparred him years before when he was really young. I just knew, like, I knew how the fight was going to go, and no one gave me a chance in hell. The bookies, no one. Everyone probably thought Brad's had his day.
That must have put your mindset
my
low.
My mindset was different. I've sacrificed my life, my family, my friends, moving to Sheffield. I've been up there a long time. I've put everything into it. So this was my coming out party. Do you know what I mean? I'm back. I'm back. So this is why it gets me so like mad, and that with how things panned out. Like I say, the fight come around, round by round, I was schooling him, beating him every round. It was scheduled for 10 rounds, like I say, for his WBO European title. Schooling him, like you watch the fight back.
Has he openly said that he felt that you were better, like technically better?
Everyone who knows boxing and who's seen the fight knows what's going on. People still stop me now and say that's a Libby. Like I say,
I don't feel like that helps though. Like it's been all these years. It's like, come on, just be like, I really loved your career, mate. You know, it's just a bit of a. You think you're moving on, and it's hard because it's kind of the thing maybe that's plagues over. But you did lose that fight.
Yeah.
But technically, it shouldn't have been a loss to you.
So, like I say, I was schooling him. It was getting to the back end of the fight. Round 8 comes now, and I rolled out from a punch, and he hit me on the back of the head, which is obviously illegal. You can't do that in boxing. You can't hit someone at the back of the head.
You can't. Can you do that in? We were saying UFC. You can't do that. I don't think either.
UFC probably. I don't
think you're allowed to do the back.
I doubt it. I doubt you.
I think you have to go like here. I'm not an expert, but I do know that.
Yeah, the back of the head. You don't, especially in boxing. That's what we was doing. We was boxing, and I took a knee, which obviously I didn't get no count from because he hit me on the back of the head. As I took a knee, he hit me 3 times when I was on the floor. That's in the rules of boxing. You do not do that. The referee comes into the changing room before the fight, explains the rules, and one of the things he said is, if you drop your opponent, do not hit him while he's down, go to the furthest neutral corner. So that's the rules of boxing. You don't do that. So for him to then hit me 3 times blatantly when I'm on the canvas, it's straight disqualification. He shouldn't be allowed to fight on. The referee then takes a point off and then comes back to me. Like I say, everyone's going mad. Now, the promoter's sitting there screaming at the referee, telling him to get me up. I've basically been knocked out on the floor and getting told by the referee, if I don't get up, he's stopping the fight. Not, I'll stop the fight. He should be disqualified. So I get up thinking I'm going to get stopped here anyway, so try and see it through. The next round, he then eventually stops me. I wasn't in no way, shape or form I wasn't doing so. So it's gone from schooling him to that incident happening, to then just like my head's gone. I'm away trying to carry on, and he stops the fight. Then I was just in mad shock. Like after and then it was just big. Like everyone was talking about it. It was big, and I spoke with Dom. I spoke, like, his own manager come into my changing room, was like apologising, do you know what I mean? And they was talking about a rematch. He was talking about a rematch then, and he was like, oh, he's moving up weight. Like he's not that weight. He's moving up weight. He's too big for the weight. That's why his performance wasn't very good, and making excuses. So then after now, I'm like, the British Boxing Board of Control need to do something about this. The rules have been broken. Like he's blatantly hit me 3 times when I'm on the floor. it's a straight disqualification. You don't get away with like that. In other fights, people's been hit on the canvas once and the fight's been stopped. It's either a no contest or they've been disqualified. So I don't know why it was so different. And I had in the hands of the boxing board, which I think highly of. I thought they was going to do the right thing. And
I saw they didn't go in that favour.
no, I thought they was going to do the right thing and call a no contest or disqualify him. Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't the case. The referee went and said he done what he had to do. He done the right thing, and that was that. It just got brushed under the carpet, and it just left a bad taste in my mouth. It was bad. The way the whole thing got dealt with was terrible. There was rematch talks and this and that, but his own manager said he wasn't going to have a rematch because he was moving up weight, and that's why he was weight drained, and that's why he was performing like that. But that's an excuse. He was getting schooled, and it proved because the no rematch happened, and straight after he moved up weight, and now he's boxing at a higher weight. So the rematch wouldn't have happened. Do you know what I mean? You can talk about a rematch and say, oh yeah, we offered it, and that the rematch was never going to happen.
I guess they wanted to say that at least they offered it.
Exactly, and that's that, and really. And then not long after that, I was obviously thinking about retiring, but I was in two minds because my head with the British Boxing Board, they've just done me wrong, and everyone could see it, like I say. And then I watched boxing, must have been a few months after, and it was Jack Catterall fighting Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor's undisputed. He's got every world title at that weight, so it's big, it's massive. In my eyes, Jack Catterall won the fight hands down. He dropped Josh Taylor. I think he won the fight. It was a good fight. He won the fight. The judges' scores come in at the end, and it goes the other way. And I was like, what is this? And there's uproar.
Do you think it's because people have a trajectory, and then that's kind of how the industry wants to see them?
Listen, it's not. Sometimes it's not the fighter's fault. It's not Josh Taylor's fault. It's he was there to fight. It was in his hometown. He's the undisputed world champion. He's there. It's not his fault. But the boxing board. It was that much controversy and that much uproar. The boxing board had to look at it, and again, they said the decision stands. And it's just. And then at that point, I said, me and boxing. That's me in boxing done. With me personally, I'm not competing again because do all this training, sacrifice everything, do all this, and then to get cheated. And it's just, like I said, it's disgusting. So
I did enjoy the quote. It sounded very grown up. Very grown up. I'm sick and I'm disgusted.
But yeah, so yeah, that's where we're at.
Do you think like your mental health took like a big turn? Because I feel like now like you're so good.
Yeah.
And I like just knowing you and how we joke about it kind of like in the gym.
Yeah.
But did it take you a long time to get to this point where you could kind of go like, and then be able to like sort of teach that moving on? Because I think you have to almost take it as graceful as you can when you get that original. There's nothing you can do. You can't dispute it. You can't keep going back and forth, back and forth.
Done. It's done. They've made the decision. It's done. It would just affect me more. Just dwelling on it. How do you know what? Wow, I take from this. Every day. If I meet people come to the gym, I go to other gyms, I go on holiday, I always get stopped, and people always say, that last fight, you was unreal. And for me, it's a boost because I wasn't meant to win that fight. I was the old man, I was this, I was that. And it was my career.
30 bloody two.
In boxing, do you know what I mean? But
gives me no hope.
But in terms of that, it was a big thing for me, just like, to know I come back and I've done what I said I was going to do. I've just schooled this kid. He's been gifted a win off me. He goes to bed at night and knows he didn't beat me. He's had to cheat to beat me. Do you know what I mean? He knows that. Any boxer.
My mindset would have been
That's my mindset. He knows, like, listen, I got nothing against him at that time. He had to do what he had to do. He know he was getting schooled. He hit me on the back of the head, which probably fair doozy. I was rolling out. I took a knee, which I'm entitled to do, but the 3 punches after, he knew what he was doing. Do you know what I mean? I was down. He was that frustrated. He's been schooled. He's getting beat. He's losing his belt, and he done that. That's just one of them.
It's like desperate measures, right?
Exactly. So he knows, hand on heart, I've schooled him. He knows, and everyone can see that. Everyone knows that. So that's how I live. I still get stopped now to this day and say, "Oh, you was amazing," and that's me. I know I've done well, and I set out to do what I did. So on my record, I didn't get the win, but in I know I've come away. My head held high.
Let's spin it back to, obviously, you did before this fight have an incredible career.
Yeah.
And it's technically, I still think it's part of your journey and your history and what you can teach people. And I think sometimes you do learn from those, like, those bad things that happen in life more than the good. If you only had good in life, you know, what can you teach people? Oh, I was great. I was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, but you did have an incredible career.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to think, so 32 is kind of when you retired, 12 years. So you were like 20 when you started.
Yeah, well, I've been boxing amateur my whole life. I've been 7 professional time when I was 22, 23, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, a bit.
Do you think was like the turning fight for your career when people started saying your name and you kind of so I didn't ever know that Frank Warren was your promoter, but everyone, even if you don't know boxing, you know who he is and you kind of know who the big promoters are. Yeah. Although I think, you know, before I kind of started training, I didn't even know what a promoter was. So I was like, I thought it was like a club promoter, you know, but what fight do you think it was for you where it was like, wow, everyone was just sort of, Bradley Skeete is the guy to watch?
Yeah, the big fight for me when I won the British title against Sam Egerton. At the time, he was the champion. He was British and Commonwealth champion. He was beasting everyone, and it was a big fight for me. Again, it was all set for him. I had to another promoter in boxing, Eddie Hearn. Everyone knows who he is from Matchroom Boxing.
Yeah, I know who he is.
He was Sam's promoter at the time, and he won the purse bid for the fight, so he got to show the fight on his promotion. It was in Sam's hometown in Birmingham, so it was all set for him, and I went there and won and took the titles, and that was probably my career best performance, and winning the belts, and that's when I had a big change. Like, you go back to, we was talking about social media, the following went up, that got verified.
But social media wasn't like even a bigger thing at the time.
Back then, no.
Like compared to how it is now and how much I think social media impacts like a fighter and how they're looked at. And, you know, it's like even like the way that we structure, or, you know, we only have one fighter on our books, and how we are planning that side of things is so different. And that's kind of one of the things Mick said was like, that wasn't the case, you know, 10 years ago. No, that wasn't even a strategy. It was never something to look at. But now it's kind of images everything. And from the start to the finish, you know, because even like the Olympic boxers and, you know, everyone's had to adjust to this whole new way of doing things. Yeah. But you did notice, like, your following did start to go up.
It was big, and then
the blue tick.
And then even going Bromley shopping and like with my mum or my daughter, and like, people stopping me, asking for pictures, and I'm like, wow, like this only happens in boxing, but now I'm out in like with general public and people are stopping me, and from then really that's when it was like, wow, like then obviously I went on, and the British title, if you successfully defend it 3 times, you keep it outright, and that's what I went on to do. So that was another big achievement. That's going to be in the history books wherever I've
your name is in the history books.
I've won the British title outright. Not many people can say they've done
that. You didn't
go
to the Olympics, did you?
No, I didn't go to
Why did you not want to
go? I was on Team GB when I was an amateur. I was back on Team GB, and I was with the likes of Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, James DeGale, who's all went on. Tyson didn't go to the Olympics, but Billy Joe and James did, and
because it's not a natural. You'd think it was like the natural flow, but a lot of fighters don't like to go that way. You know, Nicola Adams did incredibly well going to the Olympics. And kind of made her name that. Well, I'm guessing. Well, for more like the general public who don't follow boxing. But what makes that decision of okay, well, this is the career path I'm going to go as a boxer, or going the absolute opposite sort of side? And you know, you went to the Commonwealth. But so naturally, you would think in your head, like from an outsider, oh, next off is Olympics.
Well, on team, I was on Team GB, but there's obviously the Olympic cycle every 4 years, and there's qualifiers and qualifications. So in my weight, another boxer qualified to go. Then so once that spot's taken, you can't go. So waiting another 4 years, I thought, no, my time's now to turn professional. So I achieved a lot as an amateur. Boxed all around the world, winning medals for England and GB. So I achieved a lot, and that's when I decided it was my time to go pro.
So can you go to the Olympics not as a
I
professional?
think
Or does it
they've
have to
changed
be
the rules
amateur?
now. Back then,
I don't know the
it's just
full
amateur,
rules.
but I think they've changed the rules now. I think you can, if you're pro, you can still go on. Don't quote me on that, but I know the rules are changing and they've changed it. And I think
change the
some
rules all
pro,
the time
all
and
the time.
everything,
So
don't they?
can't keep up with it. But yeah, but at the time, once you're an amateur or you're a pro, so what? And then, like I say, once you got that spot taken, it was done. So.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Well,
I did something
enlightened.
like that, yeah.
So when you obviously had a promoter, how do you get? So if you were to go down the promoter route, you don't have to be a boxer before, right?
What if
You're a
wanna
promoter?
okay, no, you don't.
No.
No, it's just a business to a promoter. That's a business.
Kind of like what I
like
do,
you
but
say,
like
you're like
different.
how you would look at it as club promoters. They promote their night. They promote their event. It's exactly the same with boxing. They've got their boxers and they promote them and they promote their night, so to speak. And so it's similar, but it's obviously on different scales.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that either. Just thought I'd just put these in. We
Teaching you today. I'm teaching you.
You
today.
are more than usual. Usually we're just gossipers. I think, your career's been really interesting because you've had so many highs and lows. And I think the fact that you're open about it is really important because I think, especially in a day and age where social media is so big, everyone's talking about, everyone looks at the fame side of it and like, I want to be a boxer because of this reason, but not because of actually the hard work and dedication that goes into it.
Yeah.
So it's nice that you're open about it because I think you can teach people so much.
Yeah.
But if you were to kind of take anything away from your career to sort of teach the next generation, is there anything in particular that you would really hammer in?
Yeah.
Apart from like consistency and like the basics.
That's it.
But there has to be, I feel like there's always just a little bit more to it.
Yeah.
But you can tell me if I'm wrong.
There's
no secrets.
Listen.
None.
There's just
all of that. No secrets.
There's not. You just work hard, have the right team around you, have the right people around you. A lot of boxers have loads of hangers on and this one, that one getting involved. And through my career, I just had a small group of people, tight, no hangers on, no new.
What about the girlfriends? Because I have heard that sometimes the girlfriends can get very involved, or like they hang around and or. I think, who was I talking to? I actually can't remember. Maybe it was you about, if your partner was there at a professional fight, not having them behind the scenes. Yeah. Actually, I think it was when one of the boys from our gym fought and it was like an amateur and I went, and I was like, punch him. But no, honestly, I felt like I felt very like uneducated. But, and it was a case of the girlfriend wanting to behind the scenes and, and that's not good mentality because I guess you need to be focused and also there's always the room of any sport. You should not have sex 48 hours before a fight and, all of that
48, I wish it was that.
Is it not? Is it more?
Yeah, I used to go a long time. Good few months, me.
Few months? Jesus Christ. No wonder you won all your fights. You're bloody angry.
Angry
That's
man.
the thing that people don't tell you.
It's just sacrifices and that. But you're
like, big sacrifice.
Yeah, big sacrifices, yeah. But it's like going back to it, there's no secret, just work hard. And with me, I'm teaching and coaching now. Like, I've been there, done it, got the t-shirt, threw it away and got it back again. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot to it. I've been very experienced and it's a journey, and that's all I say. You just got to enjoy the journey. You're going to get highs, you're going to get lows, and the journey's just not straight. It's going to be all over the place, up, down, left, right. And as long as you're enjoying it, that's all that matters, and that's how I go about things. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that was so lovely, and I think that's how we should wrap it. I'm so happy you came on to speak to me, and I'm so proud of your career. And please never give up training people because I love it. I guess the next time people will probably see you is with one of the next fighters and press conferences and stuff like that. And hopefully, it's really exciting.
Exciting times ahead.
Well, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Managed. If you loved watching, please make sure you're following us so you can receive updates on our next episode. I'll see you next week.
Hey.
Did you like that? Did you enjoy it?
That was really good. I told you it would just flow.